Again, for National Mental Health Awareness Month, I want to bring awareness to your mental well-being in the role that you're currently in or you're about to apply for. Oftentimes we deal with different people when they're getting new diagnoses, but sometimes people are getting diagnoses based on the level of amount of stress and a lot of things that happen within that workplace setting. Hey everybody, hopefully everybody's enjoying your day. Hopefully you're ready for your weekend, because I know I am. But let's get with it. Let's get to it. You are watching Coreinspirations. It's a channel designed with social work students and professionals in mind. So you already know, right? Like, you are at the right place at the right time. So I wanted to just introduce myself. I have a lot of new subscribers. My name is Melanie, and yes, I am a psychotherapist. And on this channel, I share all things social work and I share all things development. So if anything that I talk about or discuss resonates with you, definitely make sure that you are liking the video, making sure that you're subscribing and turning on your notification bell so that way you're notified every time I provide an upload. And then on top of that, if you're wanting to kind of engage a little bit more with me, definitely feel free to follow me on IG, because I post a lot of different content there, where I actually am doing the thing now where I'm interviewing different social workers within the field or helping professionals, so that way you can kind of get more of that day to day. But without further ado, we're getting right to it, you all. We're getting right to it. The month of May is National Mental Health Awareness Month, but I wanted to kind of put a different perspective on it, because oftentimes it is about bringing more awareness to mental health, but I don't think people really think about it as they are pursuing a career or a role, how it's so important to factor in your mental health, to assess certain roles. And then it's also so important while you're currently in a role that you continually assess your mental health. So we are definitely in for a good chat today, but it's definitely coming from the heart. But I wanted to talk about it. Every social work role is not ideal for you. Do you agree with that? Do you feel like every social work role is ideal for you? And I would definitely say, if you have any experiences that you want to share, definitely make sure that you leave the comments down below, because we're all about building community here. And it's always useful for having, different perspectives and people sharing their own, qualitative experience based upon things that they really have been through. So I definitely welcome that. But definitely, like I said, every social work role is not ideal for you. So I want to talk about number one. How can you determine? And like I said, I know we have a lot of people too that's right now in this space where you're actually about to start applying for a lot of jobs. I have a lot of people that are graduating, so kudos to all of the class of 2022 graduates. Y'all are rocking. Definitely comment down below and let me know some of your plans that you're planning on doing to celebrate too. So like I said, I'm so happy, but I want to really just sit down and just really have a conversation with you all and really see how you are feeling. Do you really feel that mental health, assessing your mental health, is a big thing for you in a role, whether you are applying for a role or whether you're currently in a role? How do you know when it's your time to say, hey, yeah, I like this role? Because sometimes you may really like a role, but it may be really, really stressful, right? Like, have you ever been in a role where you really enjoyed it, but it was just causing you a lot of stress? Have you ever felt stuck in a position before? Have you ever felt like, okay, how am I going to get out of this role? I would know that change is something that is not always just an easy thing to do. It takes a process, right? But we're going to get right into it. Number one, your values. So whenever you looking at and assessing your mental health, because we're wanting to bring awareness to that, whereas mental health awareness is talking about becoming more open about people that are having new mental health diagnoses, learning how to cope with that, learning how to accept that, learning how to manage through that. But I don't think we really shed enough light on people that are applying for jobs, like being proactive before you get that role, and then being proactive while you're in a role. Looking at your personal and professional values can really, really help you to determine when, okay, hey, it's time for me to make movements, or it's time for me to start, implementing my exit strategy, or is letting you know I'm getting close to burnout. These are definitely, guidelines that you can kind of look and continue to assess and evaluate, implement, coping mechanism strategies. But I want you to look in number one. The number one place is your values. Does the role that you are applying for and or the role that you're currently in meet your personal and professional values? And I have a video on that. If you haven't, looked into the video, definitely I try to see if I can link it in here. I know I did like a social work challenge before about social work values. So if I can, I'll try to leave it in the cards above. But yeah, does your current role that you're applying for, and to my social work students who are freshly, graduating, you're going to be maybe feeling this intense urge to like just apply for like massive amounts of roles. And I want you, to really kind of ponder on that, again, in the mix of all of the hustle and bustle and being excited and having all the emotions, you can sometimes really want your end goal just to get a job. And we don't want to just really focus on just a job. You may want that, job, maybe for right now, maybe you're looking for just a job role to help you build your career. But even if you are just looking for a job and not necessarily a career, most people are looking for careers, but some people are willing to, have a start and step in type process where they accept a role. And that's a good thing too, where you accept a role before you can really kind of get maybe your ideal role. But regardless, whether it's a stepping stone position or not, you want to assess your level of mental health, right? You want to be aware of, is this role going to affect me in an adverse way? And you'll know that a lot of times, and it'll help guide you and give you a little lens to kind of indicate, okay, hey, these are my personal values. I like flexibility, a competitive pay rate, it could be you only want to work remote, or it could be that you totally don't want to work remote. You want to be able to have that personal experience. And it could be certain things such as building community. Being in a space where you can have and advocate and share your innovative ideas. And if you know that this role, as you are applying for the role, looking over the job descriptions, doing some of your research on it, and then after you have like landed those interviews and you're actually about to be in the process of taking on a role, how are you determining if this role is for you? How are you determining that? Have you been able to talk with someone from this particular agency or organization or establishment that you can kind of talk to kind of get the day-to-day, to kind of get a little bit more insight about the work culture? I think that's important for you to do. Because when you're talking about your mental health and really being responsible and accountable for how you deal with your job, we all know that we have personal lives, and we're not just, professionals, we're not just students, that we're people first. I always talk about my PSPs on here. Before you are a student, before you are a professional, you are a person first. So we start with the person, and then, we go on from there, right? And then if you're in that route of being a student to become a professional, it's a process. But you start out with, hopefully you're starting out with what values you have when it comes to your professional and personal goals. And there may be professional goals that you have that sometimes are interconnected with some of your personal, but it's really important that you identify that, because those are going to be indicators for you to know if you are in a role or if you're pursuing a role that's going to align with some of those professional and personal goals. And now let's look on the other side of personal and professional goals. So say you are in a role right now currently, and you may be in there from any time, anywhere from 6 to 12 months or more. And you need to be able to tell and determine, okay, am I stressed out? Like, don't overlook that. Sometimes people have certain, reasons for staying on a role, and we're not going to get into all those reasons, because we know that those reasons can be multifaceted, right? There's many reasons why people want to change but cannot change. But what I want you to know, you still can assess your level of stress. You can still assess your level of compassion fatigue. You can still assess your level of just being really burnt out and depleted, You'll be able to know that. Do you find yourself always talking about the situations that you can't control? Do you find yourself complaining? Do you find yourself dreading to go to work? And I'm just saying, some jobs come along with stress. There's a level of stress in every role that you get, but I'm talking about looking up above just that stress level, looking at your overall mental health and wellness. Is it something where it's starting to internalize and starting to have you look down on yourself? Starting to have, starting to build self-doubt within yourself, where you're questioning, not only can you do the job and do you have the ability, skills, and knowledge to do the role, but you're questioning who you are as a human being. You know, I want us to talk about that, because sometimes people go through different things on their within the workplace. And with the workplace, they deal with mental health issues, and sometimes they don't utilize the assessing, the looking at themselves, elevating themselves to a place where they say, hey, I need to be able to really separate the two. So you putting things in place, sometimes even utilizing EAP, employment assistance programs, where maybe that is going to help you with your stress. I know a lot of companies already were doing a lot of those particular services for their employees, but definitely now, since COVID is here, a lot of companies and organizations and business establishments are really amping up some of those benefits for their employees, because they see it's vital. Because as of right now, with us still being in a global pandemic, people are still having challenges with battling and managing and coping with mental illness. And sometimes for the first time, somebody may have never felt this way. You have a lot of people, like I said, I'm a psychotherapist, so you have a lot of people that I see right now are really dealing with a lot of, anxiety type diagnosis. Depression has kind of come up and has been on the rise. Social things as well. Social anxiety disorders have been on the rise. So there's a lot of different dynamics and a lot of different, layers to what some of the outcome of the pandemic is causing for people. So I definitely want to make sure that I leave some resources. So definitely check down below. I'll have some resources available for you, so that way you can check in and follow up what any needs that you may have. But I'll definitely say it's really important for you to follow up with your HR department and look over your employee handbook to kind of look through those policies and procedures to see what benefits you have, because some people may have benefits that they don't even know they have. So that's number one. Is the social work role that you're currently applying for or you currently have, is it aligning with your personal and professional goals and your values? And you're looking at that as a means to gauge, to see how is it aligning, because those things can help really promote really positive mental health and wellness overall.